our second hearing, and for those that were here at the first hearing, I want to explain the home rule option a little bit. In 1980, the Arizona voters established a constitutional expenditure limitation for cities and towns. The state imposed limitation is calculated from a formula using expenditures of local revenues for the fiscal year of 1979 to 1980 as a baseline for the limitation. Even though the state's formula is adjusted annually for inflation and population growth, it does not include any adjustments or increases in types of services that we provide to our city. The alternative expenditure limitation, also known as the home rule, allows the city council to adopt a budget annually in the amount the city requires to provide the full range of existing services to its residents. If voters do not renew home rule, the city will be required to begin operating under the state-imposed expenditure limitation from 1980. Regardless of the actual revenue it is collecting or that we collect, the city would have to wait a minimum of 2 years to ask for another vote at home rule. However, with the approval of the home rule option, the city will be able to utilize the expenditure authority for all local budgetary purposes, including the general fund, public safety, which is your fire and your police, streets, maintenance, sanitation, water, wastewater, and tourism, and capital projects. The amount of revenue estimated to be available to fund the operation of the city of Tombstone for the 25-26 budget is approximately $12.2 million. If it were not to pass, the state imposed amount would be $8.2 million. That would result in a budget shortfall for 25-26 about $4 million. Just an FYI for everybody out there, the home rule will not impact taxes. This is purely a budgetary measure that will allow the city council to set the annual budget instead of the state formula. And so if there's anybody from the public that would like to make a comment in favor or oppose, you're welcome to do so now.
Okay, anybody got any questions or input on the home rule?
I'd like to make just a couple of comments. Over the years, when I see elections, he's coming out for a vote. And basically, the citizens of the town do not fully understand what it is. It has to do with raising their property taxes. It's not a force. And I application in the paper and the chance we have to explain to them why they need to vote yes.
Okay, go ahead and then I'll put my 2 cents in here.
My name is Lillian Ritz. I'm at
Is that microphone on?
There's a button in there.
There you go.
My name is Lillian Ritz. I'm at 114 Escalita. I have a question related to what you were discussing about home rule. Last meeting, the city attorney, her comment was, we'll have to reduce the police and the fire department. But you just expressed a $4 million deficit if we do not pass the home rule during the election on November 5th. What exactly does the city ever look at in terms of other things that can be cut in that $4 million if it doesn't pass? That's one question. But my other question is, she also mentioned that it's always passed. So I'm wondering, is there a year when it did not pass?
So your first question is about other resources that we could cut. That is true. You could cut other resources that also affects your enterprises, which is your water, your wastewater, your sanitation. That would affect everything. Police and fire, also your city workers, anything to maintain the roads. It would be a huge deficit to us. The second part of that question, there was a time, I believe, Mr. Mayor, that you said that it did not pass, but it passed. However, we missed the deadline to put in the home rule. I believe that's the time that.
Let me say the line on this. The reason for the home rule is our revenue sharing is based on our population. And our population keeps our budget down, way down. And I think what the city attorney was trying to explain last week was that if we don't pass the home rule or the expenditure override, then we may, and would probably have to get back in law enforcement $40,000 in fines, and the other one was about almost $50,000 in fines. And I dealt with one of them, Tom Wright, and I'm not sure who did, but anyway, I think Don Aiken dealt with another one, but the one I dealt with is, I went to Phoenix, the city attorney, and the accountant, and I went to Phoenix to the attorney general's office and the auditor general's office to try to negotiate some kind of deal to get the city of Tombstone out of this big fine. They pretty much told me to come out of the office. They said, this is the third time that the city of Tombstone has done that. If you don't pass the home rule, you're not going to get money. And you can't go over that budget. And that's just as simple as that.
Was the fine for going over the budget?
I'm sorry?
Because you said there were
Yeah, that's the
fines
fines for going over the budget.
Okay.
And actually, it wasn't going over our budget.
Right.
They had budgeted. I'm not sure what the exact numbers were, but they had budgeted, but when they budgeted, it was like $50,000 shortfall of what we actually was allowed to spend. So that's one of the big reasons.
John Bixby, 113 Southford. Just looking for clarification, I think that I heard the figure 12.1 million or so. So I mean, this really would, it really would be about a 1/3 cut then if we, all your insurmountable, I guess I'm just trying to cut to the chase. I mean, it's hard for me to envision how you cut 1/3 of the services, or am I, did I get the figures wrong?
I'm not sure. I understand
Well,
what
no,
you're
if we fail to pass on a rule, we would be capped at, I think it was 8.2 million.
8.2.
So that's roughly, we lose roughly a third.
Exactly, yeah.
I guess I'm saying it sounds almost like
You're absolutely right.
that would be, a pure deal, would be insurmountable as far as, repairs, services, even over and above, law and fire and medical. But okay,
And that's why the Mayor Pro Tem Barlow is absolutely correct that we should try to pass the word that this could be devastating for our town, especially since we have increased the budget because of our revenues. We've got additional revenues coming in. We have grants, various other sources of revenues, and if we're not able to do the home rule, we're going to be in big trouble.
And also, Mayor, just like you mentioned, Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, there's a process to the home rule, so there will be publicity pamphlets that will be probably one out in October that explains everything, like a home rule 101. So that way voters know before going to the polls what it means.
So isn't our actual working budget, excluding grants that we opened it, closer to like 5 million? So
This one that we have right now is 3.2 in the general fund and 16 mil overall.
so we're looking at the, like 13 million in grants that we want to.
Correct.
So isn't the more accurate and better way to explain that one rule is that, so if it didn't pass, there would be no cut of services because we have, you know, the 8 million budget, or after, if our working realistic budget is 3 million something, or even 4, 5, 8 million is still plenty of room, but if it didn't pass, it would eliminate the opportunity to get grants for the water plant.
But it doesn't, and to expand on that, it doesn't allow you to, as a matter of fact, we would have to cut services. Because our revenue sharing and money that we get in would be over what we're trying to keep the public works going, trying to keep all of the different departments going. We couldn't do it without going over budget. So we already have that.
Revenue sharing from the state sales tax.
Right.
So that's not part of the 3.5% million. That's a vote.
Correct.
Right.
Could you, if it's green, is it on?
Yes, you can push the mic down.
Good evening, I have just clarification question. So this will come up in the November does not mean that you should not vote in November for any type of city.
The advantage to that, excuse me, I don't mean to
That's
interrupt, is that this is the general election for presidential and also government, and our vote is what we're coming out. So historically, and that's why we've tried to cite the words the same as the general election for president, governors, or whatever, the government, big deal, not too.
right. I just don't want, and I'm sure you would agree as well as the city clerk, that just because our city business is taken care of in July, that we don't want this to be overlooked on the general ballot in November.
That's why social media needs to help us get the word out that we need to pass.
Gotcha, thank you. Oh, I'm Margie Lane. Cortez, please.
Anybody else any comments or input? I'll ask for motion to close the public hearing on the limited extension and. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Marty Jones. Yes. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. All right, we'll close the public hearing and move into the last motion to move into the third budget work session. I'll have the motion to approve. Made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. This is presentation of revised draft of the fiscal 2024-2025 budget, and city clerk is going to make the presentation for this evening.
Okay, so this is our third budget work session. We generally have about two. But just a few changes have been made for fine tuning, such as we included all the grants. So last session we did not have a grasp on what was still pending. So this includes all that. So thank you TMO for working with us in the process. I really appreciate that. Also, $1 million placeholder was implemented for future grants that TMO and fire are actually outgoing for now. So that way, most of them are no matches, usually no matches, but we have to expend the funds first and then get reimbursed. So we have kind of a placeholder there. We updated the 60/40 fund line, which is the building maintenance line with corrections that we talked about in the last budget session. Salaries were adjusted based on the employee benefits. Will be adjusted based on employee benefits tomorrow. We have an open enrollment meeting with a new broker tomorrow, which that company has saved us already $50,000. The general fund is set at $3.5 million. The overall budget is about $16.5 to include all enterprise, grant, and revenues. The current budget will be up for adoption tonight, and that is not to exceed the $16.5 million. I also wanted to make a comment on salaries. There's a misconception out there about our salaries, and I want to put this out here in the budget work session because the salaries that we all have include a 4.5 increase across the board. And that's for cost of living and minimum wage increase, which will not take effect until January. It is also inflated with the amounts for everybody to include the possibility of overtime costs, workman's comp, FICA, Medicare, pension, all insurance benefits, and for those that have uniform and tool allowances. The salaries, those were questions last time, I believe, from Councilman Falk about how we get the salaries to where they're at, or how do we justify the salaries based on population. I believe that was Mr. Falk that you had. We don't do a metric on population and our employees' salaries. What we do go off of is the Arizona Leagues and Towns salary survey, and it gives everybody within the whole state of Arizona what everybody is making, and I can provide that to all the council. We're right in line pretty much with everybody that is in this area. However, the numbers that were told to Sirius and Herald, those were from the budget that the previous finance director had kind of inflated all the way across. And it is said in that story that we are still in a working process. So I just want to make it clear out to the public that all the salaries are really inflated, and that's to include all the benefits if the employees were to take the benefits, or any overtimes, or any increases. With the meeting tomorrow that we're gonna have, we will have a better grasp of who's taking benefits, and those salaries will start to go down. So that's the explanation for the salary, since it's already out on social media now.
Do you want to question that or wait till
I'm actually relating that we need to the budget. So, since the last revised.
So I didn't look at any individual salaries, just the total. The question I had when I was looking at this budget this year was looking at some of the other cities and what it's going on with them. So the initial questions I essentially had that per capita or per person, what those cities are spending on salary and wages. So those are totals from their budgets, including all the benefits and their costs, so $1,200 or so to $1,400 per capita. Tombstone, the new budget, we're at $2,400 per capita. Somebody suggested to me to look at it also as a percentage of the total budgets that we have today. And will costs, Bisbee and Benson are like 64 to 67% of their general fund revenue is spent on salaries, but on the budget for here, we're at 89%, which is still 20% more. I guess, and I know they said they don't use the per capita thing, so I looked at it this way, but I still don't understand. And it's not a per department or per position thing. It just seems like we're spending, but it's not, doesn't seem like we are spending this huge amount more than those other cities on salaries.
Well, let me say something. Tombstone's not really unique because we have 1,200 people live here. However, we have 500,000 visitors a year. That 500,000 visitors a year equates to about a population of 30,000. And you can go anywhere and look up the equation, that's what it is. We have to take care of it. Our infrastructure has to take care of it. Right around that 500,000 people here. We can't do it for nothing. It costs money to do it. I've been in this 25 years now, and we've tried nickel and dime, and it's better to pay good money to get good people. That's all.
And I also just want to piggyback by Mr. Fox, Councilman Fox. For like district positions, I have the salary book here, from the 2024 local government salary and benefit survey from the League of Arizona Cities and Towns. Ben, I'm just going to use me as an example for city clerk. Benson, the starting wages for a city clerk is $61,000 to $102,000. Bisbee, city clerk, starts out at $44,000 and cap of $72,000. Wichita City starts off at $41,000 with a cap of $80,000. And then we have Tombstone, $62,462. That's the difference, what's being said here. See, so we're right in line with everything. It's just, you have to go off the salary wages, and I can be more than happy to give you this. We also have to remember that I'm not just city clerk, city manager, finance director, marketing manager. We all wear several hats, and that's why the mayor said we're all unique. You would pay all these people to do this job, and we have two people, which is myself and Deputy Clerk Shelby Hansen.
Again, I don't think that any individual salaries and going into that, but it's a total across the board that we're spending so much more than other cities. And I understand where you're from too, Mayor, but Bisbee has a substantial amount of tourism that it brings in people to. Madison has a Walmart that brings in people from who knows how far outside of Benson. Wilcox has at least one truck stop, and they're wanting tourism industry, so they all bring in more people than there too.
Tax base is much higher than ours too. I mean, it's a lot higher too.
Besides that, is there any more questions that you guys have on the budget? Like I said, it's up for adoption tonight, and so it would be for a tentative, and we just can't exceed over the 16.5 million, and there is any changes.
So on the page 30,
Councilman Folt, can you speak louder into the microphone?
I will try.
Thank you.
My board number.
I'm sorry, you're saying that there's a expect 13,000, why would you that?
No, so the water fund actual revenues in 22 to 23
What are you proposing? I'm curious, what's this all leading to? Are you want us to cut the budget, or you want us to take and reduce it, or what are you proposing?
I'm trying to do my job. I got my job that doesn't just include sitting there and saying yes.
I understand that, I'm asking, what are you proposing then? You're trying to do your job, what are you proposing?
I have a question.
Understand,
I'm asking, what do you propose?
better understand.
Propose that we resolve.
I propose that you have numbers in there that are actually working. You got 561,000 was the actual revenue. The budget shows 727,000, so it's way under budgeted, but we're gonna raise this projected revenue. That has to come from somewhere.
It's gonna come from the customers, so.
So we're gonna raise the.
We have to raise the water rates. We have to raise, all of the enterprise funds are in deficit. The general fund has been offsetting for too many years. And it's time to catch it up. And unfortunately, I don't want to do it right this minute, but within the next 3 months, we're going to be doing studies and changing all the water rates, sewer rate, garbage pickup. We're paying, for example, we're paying waste management for probably 750 pickups. And they're only paying us for 500. There's not a balance. They're not picking up as many people as they say they are, and we're the ones that's having to eat the difference, and it's about $50,000, $60,000 a year. And there's a lot of areas that are in the enterprise funds that has to be coming in, and if we don't budget for it in this budget, then we can't bring it into line during the next fiscal year. So the idea is to budget for it, and over the next 3 to 6 months, start making the adjustments. By the time we get to the next fiscal year, then we will have the revenues coming from the enterprise funds that actually pays for themselves and not having to take it out of the general fund. Legally, what should be done is every time we take $1 out of the general fund to cover something on the enterprise fund, it should be considered as a loan. And we did that for years. And then the next thing you know, we had like $2 million and $10 million. I forget what astronomical number was. And I think the economy said, just try to fix it. And we have been trying to fix it for a long time. And that's where the problem is. It's in the enterprise funds not generating enough money, and a lot of it is because people don't want to raise the water rates, they don't want to raise the garbage rates, they don't want to raise these rates to pay for what it actually costs us to do it. And what it actually costs us is that $700,000. That's what we're looking at. We've got water meters that have to be replaced that are 100 years old. We've got all kinds of pipes that are breaking daily. We've got a pipe down here that's been broke for almost 8 months. To make it fitting for us. So I mean, it's a challenge. It's a real challenge. But that's what. Okay, now I'll shut up and move on to your next item.
Well, so I don't know, do the water rates, does that have to go before the public, or we just vote on those? I'm not sure.
It'll probably be done by ordinance.
Why wasn't that, if I can talk about that until now, so curious whether I'll let you know.
Well, I'm not gonna point fingers, but I'll just say that we have a different way for the financing now. So.
And unfortunately, this budget was, as you know, that night that we had the first session was.
These shows got the budget dumped in their lap right at the end of it, and I think they've done an outstanding job putting it together.
And we had to get statutory dates that are coming really fast, so I wish we would have had more time on this budget, to be honest. And with that being said, I want to thank my deputy clerk Shelley for working so hard to get this budget balanced. She's put so many hours rebuilding it from scratch. It is in a different format, easier to read. I want to tell you that we're also making changes within our department heads. they're gonna be more responsible for their budget. So what we did is we ended up implementing, a live, like a real-time report that they can go on online for, Casella government software. So Marshal's office can go on, they can see what the budget is in real time. If we put an invoice in, it will take it off right then and there, so they're always on top of it. Right, they didn't have those tools before, and so, and I'm also making them be a part of the budget process. They were never a part of it before. So there are some changes being made, and I'm hoping by next fiscal year, we have a better grasp on the new way of doing things.
Are you taking questions from the public or no?
Yes.
Yes?
Do I have to repeat my name and address again? Lillian Ritz, 14 SMD.
Turn the microphone.
It is on.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
So I'm a little confused on verbiage. You use the term enterprise, and I don't know exactly what that encompasses. And then you said you borrow from the general fund and you put into the enterprise to cover the expenses. So I'm trying to understand what all that is. But I guess my biggest question has to do with how can we afford to give employees a pay raise when we're going to then tax the citizens during inflationary time? I'm not saying that you don't deserve a raise, okay? Clarification, you do deserve that raise, I'm not saying you don't. But as a business owner, I'm doing the same sorts of things with my own budget, and I gotta tell you, it's really tight. The $500,000 tourism people coming through sure aren't spending $1 each in everybody's business, and I'm sure other businesses are struggling like mine. And the first thing I'm looking at cutting are all of those major expenses. I can't cut out my water, I can't cut out my electricity, but I'm looking at cutting my hours at the store so that I don't have an expensive payroll. And I stopped purchasing any new inventory. I don't purchase any new inventory. And I just did a great big sale on all of my merchandise just so that I can get some cash flow in. So I guess one is I don't understand the verbiage, and two, I don't understand the logic that we're going to pay somebody and increase our budget, and as Councilman Falk mentioned, it's 80% versus other cities that aren't. Are we doing any of those comparisons in terms of what increases those other employees are getting? Not saying you don't deserve a raise, but maybe does it need to be as big? And I know we're inching on that potential minimum wage of $18, but I'm going to tell you then, the biggest fear I have is, where is the money going to come from? Because my business will close, I know that for a fact, and I know how much I contribute in TPT to the city. That's going to have to be reduced from the budget. And if I'm not the only one, how much more will have to be reduced? So I guess there's just a lot of questions that I have that I'm not sure how to be answered in the meeting, but maybe you and I can sit down and have a chat sometime. Thank you.
Sure, so as far as the salaries and raises, as I mentioned before, those are inflated in working documents, so we have to inflate those. I'm not getting a $105 raise. I'm not getting that big of a raise. This is just with everything included. Our enterprise funds come from it's food health, your water, sanitation, anything that we bill customers for. Those rates have not been increased, I want to say over 10 years, maybe even longer, and we are shortfall in everything because the general fund is taking it over. So we don't give that to the customer. But every town that I have looked at, including Benson and Bisbee, have looked at our findings and our budget since the dismissal of our finance director. They're all are recommending to have an increase in our fees because we're barely making it.
So my question is, as a resident, it feels like I'm being punished. My rates are gonna go up because this is just the way I feel. Due diligence was
process that happens, and we would get an outside company to do that.
All right, any further questions? You got more remarks?
Yes, on the, so the first page, sales tax. Well, it's page one. So sales tax, last year, so 22 and 23 came in almost 100,000 under budget. This year looks to be way behind. Year to date is $1,080,000. It says estimated for June 348,000. I'm not sure how that squares for the whole year being $1 million when June was, the receipts don't necessarily reflect the market collected, but how in the budget are we estimating the sales tax is going to go up when it's trending down? Is there any outlook that says that, or is it?
I'm gonna be honest, I've been showing out these rates for the state of Arizona. They give us proposed numbers, and so that's what she had plugged in. Like I said, it's still a working document, so.
So the
all
state
they
is
show the line.
has to look to
And that's including the shared revenues as well. Any other questions?
All right, anybody from the council have any questions? Any comments? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to close the budget work session and local affairs.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded for closing out, also adjourning the meeting. All right.
What time do you have? If you don't mind me asking.
6:36.
We got 10 minutes. I'm gonna leave this on. Don't say anything you don't want anyone to know about.
I got your emails.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good points.
Thanks. I need water.
which means even on my web page, I will make sure the state's volumes based on the population. So what's interesting is that's why they were saying, well, look at this our property taxes change. Very podcast. Because basically the state would just say, oh, no, so, we're all on looking forward to a lively report tonight. We love your, we love your report. Just the facts. Just the facts. Yeah. Dragnet. That was before my time, of course.
Marshal Adams, you're not starting yet, are you? Oh. The other day, one of my family members said, hey, will you go to Circle K? And it was at night, like about 9 o'clock, and go get me XYZ, and that's what I went. And I said, oh, no.
Circle K at 9 o'clock at night?
No, you don't go after dark by yourself. No. It's like Tucson used to be. You don't go out after dark. No, now it's just don't go out at all. Me too. I was born and raised there. I can't disclose that. He'll probably laugh at me. Well, where did you go? Because it's recording. What year did you graduate? Project Moore, 440 South Park Avenue, class of 1982.
Santa Rita High School, class of 1984.
Okay, so you know where that's at? Probably not.
I know where the part of town is.
Yeah. It's like, we consider it Montessori at this point, but it was like going to college for high school. Yeah, I had no bells. We went block schedules. Do you remember back in the day when you could have a gun rack in the back of your truck? Yeah, crazy. Yeah. I used to babysit for my principal. Hi, Marshal Adams. You're looking great. A little chit chat there. Okay. Enough of that. Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Reagan. Present. Commissioner Marlowe. Present. Commissioner Falk.
Present.
Commissioner Bauer,
Present.
Vice Chairman Adams,
Present.
Chairman Escobar.
Present. Next item is minutes, discussion or action approval of the minutes for the May 14th, 2024 meeting. I'll ask for a motion to approve. Motion approved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. We have discussion on the minutes. Have no discussion, all in favor? Motion carried. Next item is the Marshal report. The Marshal will report on May 1st, 2024. Through May 31st, 2024. Marshal, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, distinguished citizens, fire chief, our city clerk, my face and wife, good evening. The crime report for May 2024. May we had 179 total incidents, 138 traffic stops, 6 motor vehicle accidents, 1 with injuries, and 3 DUIs. Number of calls for service was up compared to April, when we had 144 total incidents. Notable trends, smuggling. Reserve hours. Reserve deputies worked 77 hours a day for a salary savings to the city of $1,501.50. Our reserve sergeant, who was also a lieutenant of the Department of Corrections, has since retired from there. He is presently employed at the Bisbee Police Department, so he has moved on from his reserve duties here after 9 years of service. He was very much appreciated, and we wish him the best of fortunes in his new endeavor. Tinfoil hats. According to the tenant there, management at Casa Loma Apartments reportedly made the entire construction crews vanish. Next section, animals misbehaving. A pair of mares took themselves for a walk on Highway 80 near Landon Park. They were reunited with their owner. They could spend the night in our parking lot. Our deputy wanted to keep them over getting back. A large white dog with pointy ears and spots climbed over the fence and got out. The dog climbed back over the fence when the cops arrived. Victim reported finding friendly letters in their yard about, quote, dumb pigs, and quote, volunteer swine, end quote. No actual livestock were harmed in this event. Many deer were hit by cars last month, so please watch out for them. Significant events in May. DUI. Underage driver had alcohol in his system. If you are below the age of 21, any alcohol in your system at all is a violation. You will be charged accordingly once the official blood results come back. DUI. Another underage driver left a graduation party with 2 other persons who were intoxicated while underage. The 3 kids were charged, and the investigation into the adults who resided at the party location continues. And then somebody called later and stated that an unknown person at the party urinated on the car. DUI drugs. One of our deputies noted a copious amount of deceptive behavior for the occupants of a vehicle on a traffic stop. K9 Q was deployed and alerted to the car. 94 fentanyl pills, 23 grams of meth, drug paraphernalia, and a loaded .357 Magnum revolver were located inside. The driver was DUI drugs, the passenger was a convicted felon, and the guy in the backseat had most of the bills. They went to jail under 3 for lifetime. Drugs again. Driver was known, suspended license by a deputy who recognized him. K9Q alerted to the car, meth pipes and needles were found, and appropriate citations were issued. And still more drugs. Traffic stop for speeding due to the attention of our deputy. K9Q again alerted to the car, and 4.6 grams of meth was discovered. Both women stated they met while incarcerated. They were given a homecoming at the Disney Day. Stolen vehicle pursuit. Our license plate reader cameras picked up on this car, and the deputy attempted to stop it, but it fled. Due to heavy traffic, the pursuit was terminated. Pursuit. Cochise County Sheriff's Office office had a pursuit coming our way, so we obliged by spiking all 4 tires. The driver pushed the car, ran off, not to be seen again, should be a long walk home. Pursuit. 21-year-old man from Mesa named Prince Charles fled from Border Patrol, who lost him. He then came to Tombstone, and we chased him, but he got away because the car the deputy was driving couldn't keep up. Benson then tried to spike him, but they were unsuccessful. CCSO finally got him on I-10. We also had a working handgun. He got booked. Pursuit. 100-mile-an-hour chase ended when the car got spiked in St. David. The 17-year-old Mexican male suspect drove repeatedly into the face of oncoming traffic despite requests from the 2 illegal immigrants in the car with him to stop. He was charged with multiple felony counts and was booked into jail as an adult. Smuggling. And listen to the places that these people came from. Smuggling. A 20-year-old from Rhode Island got caught transporting undocumented non-citizens that he admitted he was being paid for. He and Scopus Berger were charged accordingly. Smuggling. A 28-year-old flew here from Florida, rented a car, picked up some undocumented hitchhikers by the border who were hiding under a blanket in his back seat, and then he promptly got caught. He went to jail. Smuggling. A 23-year-old man from Alabama got caught with 5 DVAs. He went to jail. Smuggling. A 22-year-old man from Mexico got caught with 2 DVAs. Border Patrol took custody of all 3 suspects. Smuggling. 56-year-old man from Phoenix. With a heart condition, got caught trafficking 3 immigrants. He then suffered an acute case of incarceritis and went to the hospital in an ambulance. His charges will be waiting for him when he gets out. His car will not. Smuggling. A 38-year-old woman from Nevada had 2 immigrants in her backseat and 2 more in the trunk. She went to jail. Smuggling. Elvis, alive, well, and in custody. A 34-year-old man named Elvis from California said he drove all the way here to pick up his friend's uncles and drive them to Phoenix. Heartwarming story, he got booked. Smuggling. A 27-year-old man from New Mexico said he met the man on the Grindr app. If you do not know what that is, please do not look it up on your cell phone, or you're going to have a lot of explaining to do to your spouse. He was observed driving 20 miles an hour in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. He had 3 immigrants in the back, and he went to jail. He called a few days later saying that the cartel was threatening him. Sounds like he should have chosen a more reputable employer. Tombstone now has more smuggling cases accepted for prosecution than the Sierra Vista Police Department, which is the largest city in Cochise County, Douglas Police Department, which sits at the international border, and Benson, Bisbee, Wilcox, the Chuka City Police Department, DEA, and Homeland Security combined. Wow. This is not a discouraging remark regarding the other agencies, but more a testament to the volume of illicit traffic that comes through Tombstone and our diligence in interdicting it.
That's right.
Well done.
A lot of kudos to the troops out there getting down the ring.
And their leader.
Thank you. Thank you. A local man, another man from Tucson on the Grindr app, not the same smuggling guy. Tucson man came down to Tombstone by invitation and spent 2 nights here in town. He then became violent with his host and talking about shooting up a school, trying to obtain a firearm, and mentioned a homicide in Tucson. He was criminally charged and his information was forwarded to the proper authorities. And this is exactly why we all attended strength major classes in elementary school. Burglary. A local witness man grabbed a backpack from an unlocked car and went off. The suspect tripped and landed on his face. In the law enforcement business, we call that hunting. The backpack is recovered, they lock the doors. We assisted DPS with a rollover accident on Highway 80. We assisted the Cochise County Sheriff's Office with a stolen vehicle that hit on our cameras, but they July 1st. The driver was arrested and the passenger was run away from Phoenix. And there were 24 additional assists to other agencies in May. Lost and found, 6 wallets, 4 phones, and a pair of reading glasses. Keep an eye on your stuff. Most of us have our entire life in our phone, and canceling all your credit cards is no treat. And other items of interest. Ted Plotz, who struck the Border Patrol checkpoint in June of last year, that's the reason that it's closed, took a plea. He will serve 4.5 years in prison, and he was ordered to pay restitution to rebuild the checkpoint in the amount of $114,000. And the other case that happened before that is what happened. Those are both my cases. And finally, there will be a full briefing on the monies collected and funds expended for the Dog Days of Tombstone event at this evening's council meeting. I will say that it was a grand success, and we are grateful to the many sponsors we had, plus the help of countless people who all set aside their differences and came together to raise funds for our K-9 program, as well as to provide scholarships for disabled students. Anybody have any questions?
No questions? Once again, very good report, Marshal.
Thank you, sir.
I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the board meeting. So moved. Second. All right, so we have about 2 minutes. We're going to move into the regular council meeting, or the special council meeting. Regular. If we get too many council meetings anymore, I don't know if it's a regular meeting. 1 a week. They're all special.
It's all combined into one now. It's crazy. You're doing great. This one is much better than last week. You're doing great.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll call to order the regular council meeting on Tuesday, June 11, 2024.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ray.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Marshall. Councilmember Paul.
Present.
Councilmember Bauer.
Present.
Mayor Escobar.
Present. Next item is calling the public ARS 30-431.01, authorizes but does not mandate city council to make an open call to the public during the public meeting, except for the reason of time, place, manner, restrictions, and without inhibition to address the public body on any issue within the jurisdiction of the public body. The time will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, for wishing to address the public body, so that particular remarks can be issued within the jurisdiction of the
me. Pick me.
Good evening, council members, mayor, and city clerk. Distinguished student leaders. My name is Marshal, and I just want to make a public invitation to the city council and mayoral meet and greet on Friday, June 28th at the American Legion at 6 o'clock in the evening to 8 o'clock. As it stands, all candidates, incumbent and candidates running for office will be there. I just wanted to invite all y'all. That's it.
I'll be there.
Awesome.
Yay.
So it's Friday, June 28th, 6 to 8 p.m. the American Legion. Thanks.
Anyone else on the topic? Okay, we can close on the topic. Move on to the next item, presentation, George and Adams on the dog days and tombstone.
First of all, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
I talked to 300 people around the nation, and I'm more nervous to talk to you guys. First of all, the event was really, truly a success, and there are some very definite reasons that it was a success. First, we want to definitely thank the mayor and city council for hearing us and giving us 3.5 months to put this together. I don't think anyone thought that that was even possible. We didn't think it was maybe possible, but it was only made possible because of the town and just the astronomical amount of support we got. All of the people jumped in. We're going to highlight some of that tonight. Thank you all for being interested to hear this. We really wanted to raise money for charities for the Tombstone Marshal's Office K-9 program, which we think is exceptionally important, and as you can see just from the Marshal's report how important that is, but also to raise money for scholarships for disabled students. What we also wanted to do was showcase the city of Tombstone. I mean, it's just such a fantastic place. And how do you do that when we're having a local event? My service dog, who just retired May 1st, has over 70,000 followers around the world. And they got to visit Tombstone online, and they got very excited about it. And we've got all kinds of questions about what is there to do, how do we do this? And so, we got to share Tombstone literally with the world by having this event. So we also wanted, to help the businesses, and we hope that some of that was accomplished. Yes, I think because I'll run through all of the slides with one click. So when we started the project, again, there were so many people that had to just jump in and help us. Colorado, vigilantes that didn't hesitate, Lions Club jumped in, providing us with insurance that we needed. Council members, thank you so much. Mayor, thank you for listening to us. City, Cora and Glenn Osgood donated a ton of time, and West Credit Union donated time. We could not have done it without Tanger Wilkins. I mean, that is an absolute fact. Kathy Trewick, she helped us get everything set up. Lieutenant Colonel Lisa Penny with the Arizona Rangers, she was right there with us. Rebecca Larson, we call her the Dire Wolf, organized all of the event portion of it. And then we had our vendor coordinator, Carrie Dusenberry, who gathered up all of the vendors that showed up in 3.5 months. It was a very short amount of time. So, fortunately, we had a lot of support.
accessible, they made sure we had ADA parking available, they made it wheelchair accessible, they portioned off everything that we needed for the demonstrations, they helped set up all of the tents, we couldn't have done it without them. The fire department, all day, handing out water, we had a few emergencies that they were right on, took care of, and people got to interact with them as well. Yours and the Rangers from Benson and Tombstone Company were there, riding around, talking to all of the different people. They were there all day as well. And the Tombstone High School volunteers, the Tombstone High School Law Enforcement Program volunteers, these kids showed up at 7 a.m. in the morning, and they stayed there until 6 p.m. And these kids picked up 5-gallon buckets of water and dragged them around and made sure that every dog's bowl was full all day long. We reached out to vendors, we reached out to the nonprofits, and that was one of the first things that they mentioned was that the volunteers were there with water all day long. They worked the entrance, they were just absolutely phenomenal. We had demonstrations by Nightwatch K9, Working Dogs. We had demonstrations from K9 One Paws Foundation. They came in, and we ordered disc dogs. One of the things when we get to the end, some of the things that we want to do a little bit differently next year, we want to have some demonstrations that go kind of back to back. So we're going to get a little more organized with that. But we really thank them for coming in and doing the demonstrations that they did, even though it was a long and hot day. The opening ceremonies, Junior ROTC Mounted Color Guard, which is the only mounted high school color guard in the entire nation, by the way, did a fantastic job leading the parade and presenting the colors. We had the Mayor Proclamation, which we are so grateful for. We presented some awards, and then we sworn in K9 deputies from the Tombstone Marshal's Office, Disney Police Department, and the Wilcox Police Department. And that's an interagency collaboration that is not heard of across the board all the time. So we're very fortunate to have that type of cooperation. So we had 17 craft vendors, 6 rescues came in, 2 food trucks, and 10 nonprofits. We had tons and tons and tons of raffle items. We had raffle items pouring in on the day of the event. People from the town, they just really made that possible. And the raffle itself was one of our biggest money makers. We had the music from the Mustang Mountain Cavalry Church Band, which was fantastic. Tim Joe was right up there making sure the raffle took place and everything was done on time. And we had tons of dogs, which was really exciting. So, some of the things, people ask me, well, what benefited? What happened with the event? Well, every dog you see there on the left-hand side was adopted. So we had 6 confirmed adopted dogs, and 1 is still pending for a home visit. The K9 Marshal's Office received a $6,000 donation check from the event, and then scholarships for disabled students down there at the bottom. They also, the International Alliance for Ability and Science, received a $6,000 check as well. And some of it, just the benefits, people had a good time. They came out with their dogs. Some of the dogs got the very first pup cup ever because Culver's donated 100 pup cups. And a lot of people were very excited to show me their pup cups and their dogs. We had a pet costume contest, which was a lot of fun. I had the time to speak with Lily this past week, and she made a great suggestion that we move that up to an earlier time, which I think is something we really would like to explore. People were there with their dogs. It was a very hot day. They brought out some really cute costumes, and but some people had to leave and come back. And so we think we're going to move that up to a little bit earlier in the day. But everybody had a good time. They're cute. So these are some of our sponsors. I mean, look at the town really came out. They really came together to help us. We had 3.5 months without hesitation, in some way, whatever their capacity that they could do, they helped us out. They helped us out by volunteering, they helped us out financially, they provided some sort of discount during the day, they provided raffle items for our raffles. Everybody was super excited and they were just phenomenal. So we also, a lot of these people either volunteered their time or volunteered, like I said, whatever resources that they had, gave us some raffle items. We had Smokey Bear did his 80th birthday with us. U.S. Forest Service was out. We had Irish Wolfhounds. We had people, the herd came in from California to participate in our event. Lots of people donated things. Mom and Pop Sandwiches donated sandwiches for all the volunteers, which totaled, I think, 40-something sandwiches. They did bag lunches. So the whole town really did everything that they possibly could. It was super, super amazing and heartwarming. So we raised $10,000 on a GoFundMe. And Samson retired May 1st. He was my service dog for 8.5 years. He is the reason that I was able to get an education. He was the reason that I was able to recover from a brain injury. He's the reason, I'm crying right now, he's the reason that he's made my life independent. He retired May 1st, and he has people love him from all over the world. And an acquaintance of ours whose son just recently passed away from cancer earlier this year, who donated all his time to do photographs. He was a photographer, professional photographer, and he donated time to police departments and to rescues to do calendars. And she contacted me, she lives in Nevada, and asked if she could set up this GoFundMe for us. And in less than 3 weeks, she raised $10,125. After $339.46 in fees, she sent us a check for $9,785.46. So you can see the impact that this event had on people literally around the world. So these were our expenses. We had guesstimated between $5,000 and $6,000. Our total expenses were $5,411.18. This is where the expenditures went. Goose Flaps Graphics. He did a fabulous job on our logo and our lanyards and all of that. John Maloney did Extreme Apparel, did all of our t-shirts, which we still have had to left over for next year's event. And he let us float that until the end of the event, which we wouldn't have been able to pay $3,200 because when we started we had nothing. Eldorado gave us $500, Lane gave us $250, and that's how we started the event. So thank you to everyone, but thank you to John for letting us wait to send that to him. So these are our numbers. I have 2 pages of income. We have all of the event, all of the information in this binder here. We have all of our minutes from our meetings, which we had multiple meetings. We have all of the financials. We have canceled checks. We have all of our receipts. This will remain at the Marshal's office. If anyone would like to take a look at any of these numbers or figures, please make an appointment with Marshal Jim, and he will make sure that you can see these. We're not obviously releasing them because there's some sensitive information on them, but if you have any questions, please make an appointment, and this will stay there in the Marshal's office for the duration. We do still have some monies trickling in. Whatever trickles in is going to go into the seed fund for next year. This is the second part of that. As you can see, everyone in town was very generous, and our total raise was $22,611.07. were $5,411.18. We donated $6,000 to the Tombstone Marshal's office, which the check was written there, and also to the International Alliance for Ability and Science, $6,000. Total remaining seed money to date is $5,199.89. One thing I do want to add is the International Alliance for Ability and Science does scholarships in the spring and the fall every year, fall and spring, and we have historically opened that up just internationally and to national students. We've had students from Harvard, MIT, multiple very high-end schools get scholarships from us. What we have decided to do, because Tombstone was so fantastic in helping us put this together, is we talked to Principal Thursday, and we're going to be doing a scholarship in the fall and in the spring, just for the Tombstone High School. And we have to adjust our bylaws a little bit to find out exactly how much we're going to be able to donate and how many scholarships we'll be able to provide. But they will be available starting next fall and spring. Just for Tombstone High School, they have to be going into a STEM program, which is science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, and they have to be a student who has a disability of some sort. And I'm going to be going in the fall and in the spring and talking to the senior class, explaining to them how they do look for scholarships, what resources to look for, and most importantly, how to fill out a personal statement, because that is exactly, grades and everything are very important, but a personal statement tells a scholarship payer who you are. And so I'm going to provide a template for them, and if they have any questions or need some guidance on writing any kind of personal statements or writing out any scholarship applications, I'm going to make myself available to them throughout the year. These are some of the improvements we want to make for next year. We walked around town, we talked to all the businesses, they gave us some feedback. We do want to change, we looked at changing the time to earlier, maybe in April, but we have so many events going on, we don't want to crowd the calendar with events. So we're going to probably stick to the same time frame, early May 2025. We're going to change the time to 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It may be 2 p.m., 3 p.m. We haven't decided. All of this is tentative, but we'd like to secure some more shades, some more tents somehow, organize our demos so they're back to back. Have that costume contest, which I mentioned earlier, rearrange some of the logistics on the field so that people can hear the announcements, can hear the band a little bit better. That was some feedback that we had. Add things like kettle corn, lemonade, something along that lines. We want to reduce the price of the t-shirts and the lanyards, and have like an additional item. Maybe it was suggested that we have a tote bag, people can go around to vendors. We would like to organize some sort of dog trial, whether it's a professional dog competition or whether someone suggested an amateur dog competition. So we're going to be looking at both of those options, and Lily has suggested potentially organizing a monthly raffle with the sponsors, and that's still in the works, but I think that's a fabulous idea to keep people involved all year long. So I would be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
All I've got to say, I wish every event organizers could do the same thing that you just did. It would take a lot of pressure. Fire chief, are you still awake over there? Your turn. Next item on the agenda is fire chief report of the monthly fire report for March 1st, 2024, April 30th.
Good evening, council, ladies and gentlemen. Starting the month of May for our fire department report, we have 73 calls 45 were EMS, 7 were fires, and 6 were rescues involving either jaws of life or force of entry to get somebody out of a vehicle or a confined space. The service calls ended up to be 15, and lots of those were snake removals. And snake removals are still going on today, as a matter of fact. Just an update on the Am Street fire. We had a official 5-minute response, and for the moment we got toned out to the moment we arrived on scene. And just a note in fire science that dictates that the size of the fire doubles every 60 seconds. This is why response times are so important, and us getting there as quickly as possible. The trailer, as well as the adjoining outbuilding, was fully involved when we arrived, even with the 5-minute response time. We did have the fire knocked down within 11 minutes and under control. We saved the fifth wheel, which was about 10 feet away, and the fifth wheel was a residence, and so we were happy to be able to get that confined to just a bubble burnt front end to that. So the nose started to burn, we protect and the exposure of it and kept it from catching on fire. We kept the most important part of that also is that we kept the fire from confined to that rather than because it was windy and also there was a lot of brush, and we kept the brush from igniting and also going next door, which was Castle. We had several open burning calls that people were burning large piles of brush or construction products in an unprotected and windy area. One of the fires was construction materials from a homeowner that had been burning in an open area with no protection on a very windy late afternoon, early evening. And apparently the homeowner didn't put out the fire and went in town to a restaurant to have dinner. And the neighbor was concerned, called us, called 911, and we not only put out the fire, but with the help of the Marshal's office, when that homeowner did come home, when we were putting out the fire, the deputy explained to him what could have happened, which could have ignited double damage as well as brush the dense population of that area. Our department hosted overnight 20 state wildland fires and hotshot crews that they were in from the Bear Fire, where we had sent a 4,000-gallon tank with 2 firefighters to, which was out in St. David. We hosted the crew that probably around 11 o'clock that night to have an overnight with us, and we managed to get 20 of them in their cots, and everybody bedded down nicely. They were going to stay for 2 days, but unfortunately had to go out on another fire somewhere else in the state. So we wished them well and helped them get on their way. So right now, so far the season, which the season officially has just begun, although we all know that wildland season is 24/7, 300 year-round, 365. So, but we billed for 2 more fires, and we're going to be receiving $2,000 from the state. These are all mutual aid fires that we get requested on, and it's either equipment or firefighters. Right now we have it where we're sending both. The other nice thing about the state is that this year, if we have to send somebody overnight, then the state will pay for backfilling that position. So we don't have to pay somebody overtime to come in. The state will be covering that cost for us. We received 6 radios from the state grant, brand new radios that we sorely need. Now we're able to communicate on several different trunk frequencies that need be, and we are able to have our own VHF frequency that we can talk on. The nice thing about the paperwork that they did for these radios are that in 10 years' time, I signed for them personally. They're like $11,000 each, but they're on loan to us more than anything, so they won't be officially ours until for 10 years from speaking of grants, we got awarded our Florida grant. What that is the $96,000 grant, which we'll be able to get new SCBA's air packs. All of our air packs right now are at end of life, and we actually need close to 20 of them, but at least we'll be able to get 8. And what the Floridian system is that we will be able to, in real time, through GPS and tracking, track all of our firefighters as they go into a building or into an area, and be able to have the tablets to be able to track where they're at. And that is near to my heart, because I'm from Seattle, where I lost 5 friends on the Mary Kay warehouse fire. One of which I sat with him day and night as he drilled for the fire service to get in, take the test. And unfortunately, Jimmy was part of one of the 5 who died that night. And the problem was that nobody knew where they were. Nobody knew that they were getting into an area that had a basement that they didn't know, and burned through, and all 5 of them perished. And so I'm very happy to be able to get this grant. It means a lot to me. We worked hard for it, the staff worked hard to be able to get this grant for our folks. So one of the other things is that I wanted to talk about, this is, Jim has got his tinfoil hat segment, and this is probably a one-time only thing, and thank God for this trial that it's going to be the ending for the right place, at the right time. And so we have saved a toddler from being hit by a car. This was actually a little bit over a month ago, full transparency, but I forgot to mention it during my last presentation. What happened was the toddler had wandered out on Highway 80, and we were on Highway 80, and just out of the corner of our eye saw what looked like a child, or we didn't even know, it almost looked like a beach ball that was going the way of his breast towards the highway. And we quickly, as quickly as we could, turned around and punched it. And sure enough, it was a toddler who was right in the middle lane of Highway 80 in a blind curve when a speeding car came around, and we managed to cut off the car, and so that the child didn't get hit. The driver of the speeding car slammed on his brakes and screamed at us, laid on his horns, but the child didn't. So no doubt in my mind that that child would have been hit and died just by timing. So as Jim says, it wasn't that person's day. So just really quick, one of the other things that I wanted to bring up was our tailgate that we're going to be doing for the 4th of July. It's something that we wanted to kind of expand. We usually do, not just, set up parking for folks and have the fireworks show. We kind of want to expand it to where it's kind of more of a family in the park. And so it's going to be a tailgate where people can bring their coolers, and we'll have, more organized spots for people. Blankets out in the infield. We'll be able to have hot dogs that we're going to be giving away and taking donations, but giving away, and something that we really wanted to introduce. Fireworks is what we've done. I mean, the 7 years that I've been here as the chief, and I just want to start our department getting closer to the community. One of the things we're trying to do is once they've done all their RIP checks and everything else, and done their I won't say schoolwork, but their work on their certifications, all of our people want to walk. We have a walk the boardwalk, and it's something that I don't know if any other administration in the fire department has done that, but I just feel that we need to know who the owners, the shop owners are, and get to know them, and get to know people on a first name basis. And so, as a fire department, we consider ourselves everybody's friend. We're Switzerland, and we're conducting our life that way. And I am incredibly lucky to be the fire chief of such an iconic town. And Tombstone, and where we can support our community in a variety of things. So with that, any questions?
Me?
Yes.
So your packs, your devices with the GPS, roughly how much are they a piece?
They're
I'm not a math teacher.
around 15,000 pieces.
What is the likelihood of obtaining more grants for additional units?
Good question. We are in the process right now of finding grants for additional air packs. And the other thing, just to piggyback onto that, is that we're buying air packs that other towns around the area have MSAs. So all the bottles are interchangeable. If we have them here for an incident, or we go somewhere for an incident, we don't have to have special need equipment.
Excellent. My other question would be, for your 4th of July event, if you need volunteers or any items donated, should they contact?
They can contact myself.
Okay.
I want to say contact Chris, but she's so busy, I don't want to do that to her. But you can contact me.
You can definitely contact City Hall. I know there's some people that wanted to also donate the hot dogs or whatnot.
Or even their time?
Yeah, or either time or anything that they would like to. What we'd like to also do with this community event is to also have a community side dish table. So if somebody wants to bring in, a special side dish, we're gonna have a tent under there. So we're having hot dogs, do some games for the kids, water.
First thing annual?
Yeah, so there'll be lots of things. If anybody has any ideas or anything, this is kind of a new thing that she came up with, and we think it's great.
I absolutely agree. And then just the last thing I think I want to do is I want to thank you and your department for saving that little person's life. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Very good report. Next item is approval of the minutes. Number 8, discussion and action on approval of the minutes of regular council meetings for Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. I'd like for a motion to approve. Approve. Second. Motion made and second. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Vote discussion, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item B, discussion and action on approval of minutes for special council meeting for Tuesday, May 28th, 2024. I'll ask for a motion to approve. Second. Motion made and second. Is there any discussion? Having no discussion, full discussion, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item C, discussion and action on approval of minutes of special council meeting for Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. I'll ask for a motion to approve. Motion to approve. Second. Motion made and second. Is there any discussion? Having no discussion, full discussion, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Under new business, discussion and action on approval of the accounts payable in the amount of $372,741.59. May 1st, 2024 to May 30th, 2024. Motion to approve. Second. Motion made and second. Is there any discussion on it? No discussion, close discussion, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item D, discussion and action on approval of resolution number 07-2024. A resolution of the city of Tombstone proposing an expenditure of alternative expenditure limitation. I'll ask for a motion to approve. Motion approved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Reagan.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Barlow.
Yes.
Councilmember Falk.
Yes.
Councilmember Fowler.
Yes.
Mayor Askew.
Yes, motion carried. Item C, discussion and action on approval of resolution number 08-2024, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Tombstone, Cochise County, Arizona, for adoption of the tentative budget for the City of Tombstone for the 2024-2025 fiscal year, adopting the estimated amounts required to meet the public expenses statements or schedules of the tentative budget. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? No discussion. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Reagan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Marlowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Falk,
No.
Councilmember Devouer,
Yes.
Mayor Escobar.
Yes. Motion carries. Item D, discussion or action on approval of special use permit for Ken Williams and Hotel Tombstone with Dean Butler, Patrick, not sure how to pronounce that.
Labrador.
And Dean Butler for Curry Man and Tombstone on Saturday, August 17, 2024. And the requesting the following, the use of Shepton Hall, 85-inch TV and sound system from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. for podcast and presentation. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Approve. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? I apologize for not being able to pronounce their names. Have no discussion. Have no discussion. Opposed, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is discussion or action approval of special use permit for Deborah Mangle and Dennis Cowgirls for the annual Tombstone Christmas Ball, Saturday, December 14, 2024, requesting the following. Use of Shepton Hall on Friday, December 13, 2024, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. for setup, and then use of Shepton Hall on Saturday, December 14, 2024, from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. for setup and then the use of Shepton Hall on Sunday, December 15th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for pet down, and then the use of Shepton Hall on December 16th, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for final cleanup. A motion to approve. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item D, discussion and action on approval of a special use permit for Chamber of Commerce for annual Tombstone Christmas tree lighting ceremony on Friday, November 29, 2024, requesting the following. The use of the west intersection of Fifth Street and Allen Street starting at 5:30 for count for the carols and Santa Claus and toilet collection, same as last year and the year before. I'm sorry. Mayor will light the tree at 6 o'clock. I'll ask for a motion to approve. Motion to approve. Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Next discussion or action to approve the special use permit for the Chamber of Commerce for annual light parade on Saturday, December 14th, 2024, requesting the following. Use of Allen Street, 6th Street, 13th Street from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. for parade start. Speaking, and use of Allen Street from 6th to 3rd from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. for light parade. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Approve. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. Opposed, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item discussion on action approval of special use permit for Chamber of Commerce for annual Santa in the Park on Saturday, December 21st, 2024. Requesting the following. Use of Shepton Park from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. for children's activities, pop chocolate, cookies, snowball fights, Santa giving gifts to both the children. A motion to approve.
Approve. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there discussion? No discussion. Opposed, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion made and seconded. Do we have a second? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Woohoo, that's it. Have a pleasant evening.